Hey there, Stand Up News here. Welcome back another episode of entitled Parent Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Entitled Mother in the ER. Mandatory. I'm not a native English speaker, and I'm on my phone, please have mercy. This takes place when I was 17, fairly certain it was 2014, during my second year of what probably would be called high school in the US. It's called gymnasium in Swedish. Long less backstory incoming. My school was very closely located to a sports arena made for floorball, so during my PE we played a lot of floorball. Once a year we would have a fairly large tournament with some other high schools in the area. It was not mandatory, but my school always had at least 2 teams. This took place during a school day, so if you attended you could skip a day of regular classes, which many students didn't consider worth it. My school was specialized in IT and mathematics, so lots of people who would probably be considered nerds. But since I was an active floorball player in my free time, this was a win-win, and I would always attend. People of interest: Mimi IC, injured classmate UT, unhelpful teacher EM, entitled mother EMC, entitled mother's child. Kid wasn't really entitled. This year, however, I was going as a spectator because we didn't have enough players for a third team, and I didn't want to take a spot from the younger players in either team. So I enjoyed myself and just cheered on. During one of the matches, a girl, IC, who was in my class, had a really bad fall, really twisting her ankle and landing on her foot. The game was suspended, and I was waiting for someone to step in and help her, but nobody came. Turns out that the school forgot to bring in a medic or even a PE teacher to have on standby in case someone got hurt. I looked around and nobody was getting up to help her, so I grabbed a teacher sitting near me, UT, and told her to get whatever medical equipment she could find. I ran out to IC and tried to help her off the field. She could barely walk, so I supported her with my shoulder since I didn't want to carry her, me not knowing her and all. We get to the stands, where I gently help her lay on her back so I could have a look at her foot. UT comes back with some elastic bandages, Google Translate to the rescue, and I proceed to remove her shoe. She yells out in pain, which in a second just goes quiet. She passed out from the pain. While she was out, I managed to get the sock off and everything was just swollen to shit, and the ankle was at a really weird angle. She comes to her senses and I grab the bandage and tell her, this is really going to hurt. While I was bandaging the ankle and foot, she was just holding Ut's hand and cried. I got her foot immobilized with the bandage and UT said, should she stay here or should she go to the hospital? I glared at her and said that she was going to the hospital. UT said, I can't leave right now, but I'll get someone to drop her off at the ER. I looked IC in the eyes, saw her fear and just said, the ER will be full at this time, drive US to the clinic downtown, they have a small ER section, but it won't take as long. We were driven to the clinic, and I helped her inside the building. Turns out that the ER was on the top floor. 5 narrow staircases up, and naturally the lift wasn't working. With the bandage on she could put some weight on it, but not nearly enough to walk up the stairs, and since the stairs were so narrow I couldn't walk next to her and support her. I gathered some courage in my 17-year-old insecure brain and told IC, I'm going to carry you up the stairs, okay? She looked a bit embarrassed but nodded. Here comes the entrance of EM and EMC. While I was lifting her up the 3rd set of stairs, I feel a push on my back almost making me fall. I stop and turn around just in time to see EM try to push me again, apparently trying to get past me, way too narrow for me to let her pass while carrying IC. Me, what the fuck are you doing? EM, we don't got all day, my son slipped and hurt his wrist. I see him behind her with a wrapped wrist, and he's trying very hard to not look my direction. IC turns her head into my chest while crying. I guess that the push must have put pressure on her foot. Me, well, wait for 3 goddamn minutes so I can get her up to the ER, then you can pass. M doesn't say anything, but is constantly at my heels, almost making me fall again. We get up the stairs and EM shoves me aside walking into the ER. I follow her inside where she drags EMC towards the check-in area, probably thinking that I'd be trying to get IC registered first. I instead find two of the few unused chairs and make a makeshift bed, making sure her ankle is elevated before getting her registered. I go in as soon as EM walks out, looking really smug, probably thinking that now I'll have to wait even longer. I register IC, tell them about her pain, and that I suspect a broken ankle. But before we were done, I hear IC scream for help, and I dart out of the room. EM is trying to drag her out of the chairs. I run up to her and firmly push her backwards, carrying an extra bit of momentum, just for good measure, and ask what the fuck she was doing. EM, she's taking up 2 chairs. EMC and me both need a chair, and since we were here first, these ones are ours. I didn't notice, but I had a nurse and a doctor behind me that ran over when IC screamed. They brought a stretcher with them that they immediately lift IC onto. I turn and see them helping, then turn back to EM, where I'm just standing, not sure what to do with my anger. I just wait for her to act first. When they start rolling her to a room, EM yells, "Hey, we were fur." I cut her off mid-scream, just telling her to shut the fuck up. I try to walk to the room, but I'm stopped by a nurse saying that I can't go in since I'm not family, guessing it was because she saw me and EM fighting and didn't want to drag it into the room. I just stand there for a while and eventually EMC gets attended to. His mother wasn't allowed in either. We just stand there and look at each other until IC's dad arrived. In the confusion of it all, I had totally forgotten to call her parents, but apparently UT did before we left. I exchange a few words with him, then I leave, giving EM the finger while leaving. Post-story, IC had 2 fractures, and was using crutches for a while, but was eventually okay. Never saw EM again, no police was involved. I made sure to point out that every game needs a medic. Join as a channel member today, and we'll give you a special shout out in our next video, and come to watch this video next, you are gonna love it.